The other side of this story is about a $107 million property that he purchased just a few years ago. And at the time, that was the highest transaction in town that has been usurped, I think, a couple times over in other parts of town. But it was $107 million purchase, and that was the Adrienne Arsht Estate. Adrienne Arsht Estate is important, folks, because, well, A, gorgeous, next to Vizcaya, right there as you go down Bayshore getting into Brickell. And on this property, there's actually two homes. It's an estate with two homes. And one of the homes is the Williams Jennings Bryan's house. William Jennings Bryan was the Secretary of State. And so he bought this property, and it's been a stick in his thigh ever since. Shortly after buying the property, he made this proposal to move it to Overtown to make it more accessible to the public.
They were going to put it behind the Checkers, behind the old Checkers hamburger joint. So at 4 a.m, you could roll up there, you could make your order, and guys would shake you down for change.
I think that I will give him credit, he has read the room a little bit, or he has hired somebody to do so for him and advise him. Because proposals like that is how you make a fool out of yourself in this town. I'm just speaking it how it is, guys. The new proposal, though, which, Peter, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it. It's part of a donation, or I'm sorry, it is not contingent on this donation. Need to be clear. He will donate $20 million to the Vizcaya Trust for something called the Vizcaya Farm Village. I don't know if anybody remembers the Children's Museum, the Science Museum, the Children's Museum right there as US 1 meets Bayshore. So that has been empty for years, ever since they moved the Children's Museum to the Frost, just south of the Omni District, right next to the PAM. So the Vizcaya Farm Village needs about $100 million to build out this really nice, conservatory and gardens, and it's gonna be really nice once they're able to get it done. So Ken, talk about beer money. It looks like he paid $77 million for that lot on Terminal Island, so he can go drink beer. He's going to donate $20 million to the Vizcaya Trust, so roughly a fifth of what they need to build out this farm village. And then he was like, "Hey guys, since we're on the topic of Vizcaya, can I talk about my house for a second?" And so he's proposing he's going to give an additional $5 million to move the William Jennings Bryan's house across the street to the Vizcaya Farm Village. Now, I don't want him to move the house, but also it's a good thing. People will actually be able to go see it. That's a prime piece of real estate where that children's museum used to be, right? Right now it's a parking lot. I think they do a farmer's market there or not. I haven't been there since I was in over 20 years. So I don't hate it. And everybody who's been interviewed, by the way, talking about the conservation efforts and all the consultants he's hired, people have said he's hired the best, obviously, because he can pay for them. He's hired the best, and they're going to do their best to preserve this house. And that's the story. Peter, what are your thoughts?
That was a great summary. You did an excellent job, honestly.
Oh, thanks, bud.
I remember first reading the article when Ken Billions announced that he wanted to basically jack up the house, put it on a flatbed, and have some guy drive it up Brickell Avenue. Yeah, and when you got to the Checkers, make a left in the Omni District, they had some dirt. So anybody doesn't know Checkers, that Rally Burger, wherever you are. So the go-to up in the Edgewater area, which is where this is, people would show up there after drinking. I've heard the queue would be outside. It was like, it was a very popular place with homeless guys and everybody else. So they wanted to take this house of historical significance, over 100 years old.
Wait,
and they wanted
right here?
Yeah, they wanted to put it around Checkers. Yeah,
because the Checkers is here, right?
Yeah, but there's some kind of dirt in and around there. So in my mind, it was always, because it was going to go to the Omni District's land or something. So in my mind, they were always going to drop it off behind Checkers, because Ken Billions, he wanted his dirt. He's obviously come around. He starts to understand it. I think it actually makes sense. I think it's a good deal, because right now you have this great piece of dirt where the Science Museum was, but it's really not being utilized. I walk around there all the time. Ken, when you said you were going to put a shovel in the ground on this office tower, I said it was bullshit, and I came out and wrote a column. I said it would never happen, and I took a victory lap once it did not happen. Let me tell you, Ken, if you make a mistake with this site, this will be basically your third albatross. The first one was Faena. You overpaid. You had to sell for a loss. Second one was the Brickell Bay Drive site where you're going to put up the $1 billion office tower. Now you're blaming it on the fact that it cost 2.5 because of tariffs and everything else. The third one is if you decide to put up something massive here and the market goes to shit, the risk you run is that you could have the reputation of basically being the mush. When you come in and you do something, you know the market is over, and anybody who watches, what's going on with key brokers, the same way the Crescent Heights and the Swire properties of the world are dumping dirt. And if you're the guy who's taking them out and you're paying too much, you could develop that reputation of, like many developers, when a certain developer goes in, the market's probably over because their timing is so bad. So this is the risk that Ken's facing here.
But is it a risk?
Not that he gives a shit.
He has more money than every developer in town combined times 2 or 3.
But everybody cares about legacy. If you strike
That's
out
fair.
3 times, Faena House was a strikeout. A Brickell Bay Drive site where the $1 billion office tower is never going to go up. That was a strikeout. And by the way, on that office tower, because everybody supposedly is fleeing New York to come here, why the hell don't you put a shovel in the ground right now? If they're all coming down because of the new mayor and he's a socialist and all this type of stuff, and they're all coming, put up the office tower. It'll pay for itself.
True.
Well, 100%. But if you strike out a third time, it'll be like, oh shit, this guy's just burning cash and doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So Ken, be very, very cautious how you move forward with this. Money's made on the downturn.
Miami and have lunches with Peter and I. You might pick up something.
Oriental Mart on Coral Way. $10 lunch.
I still haven't been. I'm waiting for the invitation. I'm not going to go by myself. It's awful. Bring a magazine.
You and I will go there.
All right. So Ken Billion swings for the fences. While I do wish him well, I'm a hold. I can't make up my mind about him. Every time I give this guy an opportunity to do something awesome, he goes in on Bloomberg or something and says some bullshit. And then he makes his offer to Vizcaya, and then I'm like, oh wow, like this would be great for the community. And then he goes back on CNBC and says some bullshit. I don't know.
I like the fact that he seems fair. The interviews, I'm not saying he lives by what he says, but he seems like a fair guy. Seems like a smart guy. He seems like, well, obviously a smart guy. He's adding to the community. He's not afraid to write a check. But the timing of give the money to Vizcaya and then suddenly want to do that, it's kind of got a little bit of a reek to it. But then again, this is Miami. This is a quid pro quo town. Every developer who comes in here wants to do something. The city always shakes them down or the neighbors shake them down. But you're going to have goodwill. There'll be goodwill feelings about it.
Absolutely. And then if they do move the house, he's going to pledge another $5 million to maintain it, right? Great. Again, if the $77 million was beer money, what is this? Sofa cushion coins?